Hi, welcome and thank you for listening to the Fearless Adventure Podcast. My name is Veerle and I'm taking you with me on a journey. In this podcast, I will give you a glimpse into my location-independent free life. I will tell you about the challenges of online entrepreneurship as a nomad, about finding the right mindset to grow, and how you can experience real freedom in your own non-nomadic life. My name is Veerle and welcome to Fearless Adventure. I'm so happy you are here. I'm recording an episode that I've been waiting for months to record. And a lot of people have been asking me about this topic. Are you going to record a podcast episode about that? And the answer was always yes, but I didn't know when. And the topic that I want to record an episode about is my experience of Unleash the Power Within, the Tony Robbins event that I've been to in March 2021 and now June 2021. And I knew at my first UPW that I was going to record an episode about it, but the first time it felt so overwhelming. There is so much coming at you when you do UPW, and I didn't have enough time to wrap my head around it. And after a while, it just it left my mind. I couldn't recall everything anymore. I wasn't in the moment anymore, and it didn't feel right anymore. And I'm still a bit annoyed with myself that I didn't push through that first week after UPW, but I know the conditions were a little bit off. There has been construction noise outside of our house for, I guess, almost a year. It feels like almost a year. I think it's 10 months now. And that has been limiting me a lot with recording episodes. As long as I have my podcast, there is construction noise in our street. So that has bothered me a lot. And that first week of UPW, I wanted to record, but every time I felt like it was on a time that the work guys were working, and I couldn't. It distracted me too much. And the funny thing is that is just one of my main things that I got out of UPW, and that is where focus goes, energy flows. And it's so funny that I kept focusing on that background noise that I couldn't record an episode. And then of course I wouldn't record an episode. It makes total sense. And even now, today, I'm sitting here in our living room and there is this fly flying around and I'm so annoyed by the sound. But I know that when I focus on it, when I give it attention, it will bother me. But now I am recording and I don't hear it anymore because my focus isn't on it. My focus is on this, on recording, on telling you guys my experience of UPW. And when you focus on that, everything just flows and the energy is there. And I have no clue what I'm going to tell. Of course, I prepared a little bit, but I I know that it just has to flow. I have to focus on what I want to tell you guys about my experience instead of following a list of all the things that I wanted to share. And I know that in my first, it wasn't even an attempt because I never recorded anything about UPW to with the intention to share. But I wanted to have some structure that I could use to share this, but I knew I couldn't. It wasn't the right time to record that episode. And the funny thing is, now that I've done my second UPW and it ended like 14 hours ago or less, and now everything is still fresh and it makes so much sense to record it right now. I actually yesterday evening when we quit, well, evening, it was night, it was 3 a.m. my time. And when we quit, we still had a meeting with the crew because I crewed this event. So I went to bed around 4:30, and I was really tempted to start recording right there, right then. But I didn't because I was already lying in bed and I thought, yeah, no, I have to get up and I have to. So the focus wasn't on the right thing. So I just didn't. I went to sleep and had some hours of sleep. And now I spent all day sitting in the garden in the sun. I can finally sit in the sun because I have been locked up in my pretty hot attic room to do all the hours for UPW, and it has been amazing. But we finally, after a month of rain in the Netherlands, we have sun. So I'm really happy that today I could just sit in the garden with my journal, write everything down that I learned, that I want to take with me. And there it was. There was my outline for my podcast episode. So I focused really on the energy that I was in, what I wanted, what my body was craving, what my mind was craving, and then everything flowed into this episode that I am recording right now. And I just love it. And I think one of the biggest things that I did differently this time than last time is that I really blocked my calendar for the next couple of days to let everything sink in. I have no work things planned. Tomorrow I will have a fun day with one of my clients, but that doesn't feel like work. I we're going for a walk, we're going for a swim. It's going to be an amazing day, and I'm looking forward to that. That's not something that I'm dreading or anything. And I know the last time when I did my UPW, I had all these appointments and I was really busy, even though, yeah, I don't know, it was just, I had a lot of screen time after it. Not that I had to go anywhere because of the lockdown, we couldn't go anywhere, but it was too much. I couldn't sleep in, I couldn't focus on what my body needed because believe me, after 4 days of UPW and playing all out, your body is sore. And I on day 3, your body is aching everywhere, and you're thinking about quitting, but you're not. You're gonna push through, and you will love it. But yeah, you have to rest your body properly. And the funny thing is that even though I was a bit sore, my body was aching a little bit on the third and the fourth day. Now I don't feel anything. I'm completely energized, and I just love that. All right, where am I gonna take this? I want to focus on my lessons and not on the actual thing that's happening in UPW. I don't want to tell everything that we did on every day because that's not my thing to share. Of course, that belongs to Tony Robbins, and that's totally his, and I will not go with that. I want to I will take parts of the program to explain a little bit what we've done and what it's done for me with my experience and my examples. But I want to make it clear that you really have to experience this for yourself. This is just this episode is about my experience, and it is the intention of it is that you feel if UPW is something for you or not. And the funny thing is, I never really felt in advance if UPW was something for me because before COVID, of course, it is all in person events. It's in these big arenas. Well, maybe not arenas, but well, I guess in the Netherlands it should be in an arena. But yeah, it is pretty big, massive events, lots of people, crazy hours. And just the thought of going in an event like that, where you are sitting there for 12, 14, 16 hours and you have to jump up and scream and everything. When I focus on that for 4 days, I get complete overwhelmed. It feels like it is too much for me, for my body to be in that environment. So when I saw that they were doing a virtual event, I was all in. I knew this is the way I can do it. I can experience this fully and do it at my own pace. Well, not really your own pace because everything is live and you cannot watch any recordings or anything. You have to be there to participate. So it's not your own pace, but still you have some influence because you can decide when you go to the bathroom or eat something or sleep or whatever you do. So you have more control. And the funny thing is that I realized that while I say while I don't get that out of my mouth. That's the thing with my Dutch English. All right, focus. It's funny that I say that you have more control in this virtual environment because that is one of the topics that we talked about on day one. And I wasn't planning on starting with this topic, but it makes so much sense to start with it, so I'll just do it. We have, as humans, we have six human needs. And those human needs dictates how you do stuff in your life. And I will tell you what the human needs are, and then I will give some examples. I hope, yeah, I have that open on my dashboard so I can tell you about it with my own examples. All right, but the six human needs. If you want to hear this from Tony, you can watch a video. It is on YouTube. You can watch it. He explains it way better than I do. So please watch that video if it doesn't fully come across as it should be. So just make sure you watch that video as well. I will link to it in the show notes, of course. All right, but the six human needs are: the first one is certainty, the second one is uncertainty slash variety, the third one is significance, the fourth one is love and connection. And those four are the basic human needs that you you have. And the fifth one is growth, and the sixth one is contribution. And the funny thing is, when we are going into this topic, everyone, well, I think 80% of the audience will have certainty or uncertainty and significance as their two top picks. And before I continue, I will explain a little bit what it is and how you can find it. Yeah, I have a hard time explaining this, so I would really want to recommend you to watch the video. I don't know how long it is. I guess it's 12, 15. I thought it was 12 or 15 minutes, but probably it's longer. I don't know. Look it up in the show notes. But those human needs, they dictate how you respond to things in life. If you have the human needs certainty, you hang on to control. And that's what I meant when I said that I wanted to have control over my my body, over my calendar. That is one of the biggest things that I have in my life. I want to be in control. And you notice that for example, with the event, people are always asking, what is the timetable, when is Tony coming on, what are we going to cover, when are we finished? All those questions are part of your drive for certainty. You want to have certainty. You need to have it enabled to live your life. And it is so funny that people have that. And it is really, it can have a positive impact, but mostly I feel that it has a negative impact because you want to know everything. You're clinging on, and it's blocking your mind to be open to other things. If you're constantly focusing during the event, when is he coming on? What is the timetable? When are we finished? You're not focusing on the content that is really happening right in front of you. So you are blocking yourself, and that's not good. And of course, it can have a positive impact as well. I am really strong on building routines in my life because when you know me, you know that I live a nomadic life. So I am normally, not during COVID, of course, but normally I'm traveling and I don't know where I'm going to be or what my calendar is going to be. So I focus on having routines that serve me. And that is a way of finding certainty in my life. So it's whenever I go somewhere for a couple of days, I find myself doing the same things over and over again. Last April, I was away for a couple of days, and every time at the same day I would go for a walk or I would go at the same time to the same location. My first UPW was on different time zones. It started at 4 p.m. and it continued until 4, 6, 7 p.m. A.m. So when I got up the next morning, it was usually around 10 a.m. I had 3 to 5 hours of sleep because of the construction noise. I always woke up earlier than I wanted to. But what I did, I had my breakfast and then I went out for a walk to clear my head. And that is finding a way of certainty that I'm feeling good when we start the event again. And that was a routine. Within the second day, I did it. And then I realized, yeah, I have to do it. The third day, I had to do it. I couldn't not do it. So that is part of my drive towards certainty, that I have the control of my calendar, that I have routines in place that help me, because having that certainty, those routines, makes my life easier. But the funny thing is that uncertainty is also a big part of my life. Of course, I live like a nomad. I don't know where I'm going to be. That's part of the thrill. That's my drive. I love that part of my life. And it has had some negative effects as well. I have been someone who doesn't like to be pinpointed. It's, of course, it's a side effect of certainty, and uncertainty makes sense, but I don't want to be pinpointed. I don't want people to control me. I The funny thing is, I have in my life, to be honest, it this is a bit vulnerable, I guess, but I have been finding relationships that are never certain. When I look back on all my boyfriends, that sounds like there has been a lot, but well, you know what I mean. But I never went for the certain things. I always went with the unreliable guys, or the open relationships, or just messing around without ever making it official or anything. I always went for the uncertainty in that as well, even though I actually was longing to have a certainty in that, have someone that is completely focused on me. But I had too much drive for the uncertainty that I blocked myself within that. So within this event, I learned that I finally saw that. And now I know that I can change that. It is a belief within me that needs to be, no, it is a certainty. It's a need that is supposed to be met within me, but it's, and that formed the beliefs that I'm not worthy to have a healthy relationship. So I guess that the needs formed my beliefs, and my beliefs formed my needs, that it's interconnected. All right, let's move on to significance, because that's a big one as well. That's the third one. And if you have ever seen a picture of me, you know what I mean with my significance, that I have this thing, my pink hair, it's always pink, and I'm always wearing bright colors. When I was 16, I was always in rainbow colors or in goth. It was always those, yeah, one of those two. It was my drive to stand out. I don't like to be one of many. I want to be unique, and we all are unique, but I had this drive to get the attention towards that the drive for significance. I want to be seen. And there are certain ways how I make myself seen, and one of them is the way I look. My pink hair is definitely part of my drive to be seen. But something else that I always do is I make myself a very important person. And I say that with a little bit of laughter. It's what I've found within my work and within my history as a Girl Scout. I always want to be aware of everything. I want to know all the facts so I can answer all the questions that I get. And my drive for that knowledge, for that certainty again, that that makes sure that people will always come to me to ask the questions. When I had a desk job, it was never a solid 9 to 5 job, but I had this desk job as a temp employee, because I always say that I've never had a desk job. And that is true, but I have worked a desk job. But when I was working there, I was the one who knew how to do everything and where everything was put. And if you were looking for something, I know where to find it. And the funny thing is, it's the same with when I'm living in my parents' place. I always know where my mom's cell phone is, or where her keys are when she's lost them again. even though it's not my job to know that, but I do know all these things. And I have a hard time shutting that off. And that is partly the reason why I got to my burnout within the festival world, because at every festival, I knew everything. And I was the in between guy that I don't know, it's just it was my role within the festivals as well, but I made it so much bigger than it actually should have been. And I was always the one to step up if something needed to be fixed, or if there was something going wrong. And I'm that drive for significance, it became my downfall within that work. So it is so good that now with UPW, I have those, that I have that knowledge, that finally know why I have that and why that was such a big part of my life. And I'm so happy that I shifted it already. I quit my festival work so I would finally be free of those high expectations that I had of myself. And there's something that they say within UPW, and that is trade your expectation for appreciation. And that's what I have to do. I have to do. I'm not there yet, but I am so appreciative of my skills that I can be someone that knows everything, but I know I don't have to show it all the time. I can take a step back. I don't have to be the one that does everything. And because that takes us to the fourth human need, love and connection. Because I feel like why I do that is connected to love and connection. I'm always looking to be seen, to be found, to be loved. And of course, we all have that. But the way that I was expressing that was not healthy at that moment. And at the first UPW, I realized that. And I shifted so much. And I focus on the positive things of love and connection. And it's not all about love and connection with other people, it's also about the love and the connection within yourself. And since my last UPW, I have been focusing on myself so I can be there for others. Of course, it's also about the other, but it's me first. And I have been starting to really make it a non-negotiable that I go for my daily walk. I am walking barefoot in the forest sometimes just to feel connected to nature. Nature is such a big part of my life, and people always get that vibe without me trying to express that. But it makes sense because I'm always paddleboarding, I'm always walking. I have to be outside. That's my thing. So I have been focusing on that a lot more. And I have been focusing on connections as well, connections with others besides my own connection. And the last couple of months, I have been focusing on my family, on some of my friends, not all of them, I have to admit that, because I still find it difficult in times of COVID to be around people. And that's a whole other topic, and I'm not going to talk about it right now. And I didn't think I would need 33 minutes, because we're 33 minutes in already, to cover this first page of my journal, and I have like 6 pages. So this is going to be a long podcast for once. That's funny. All right, I will leave the six human needs. The fifth is growth, and the sixth is contribution. And the thing is, you need to be aware of what you do on those base human needs to be able to grow to the fifth and the sixth human need. And I think because I saw the patterns that I have, that I was able to go to the growth and the contribution. And being a crew member at UPW was my contribution. It is serving others. It is saying thank you to Tony Robbins for giving me all this knowledge. And this way I can repay that knowledge by serving him, by serving all those other people, all the participants, and the whole organization. So I think that is what I wanted to say about the six human needs. And one more topic that I want to talk about, that happened on the first day is fears, because the whole day was about your, well, not the whole day, but I think one of the main topics was fear. And we all have fear. That's a given fact. And of course, my name is Veerle and I go by Fearless, and I always make a big thing out of that. But I am not fearless and I will never be fearless. Fear is a big part of our life. And you just have to learn how to cope with it. How Tony Robbins would say it is, we all have fear, learn how to dance with it. And you have to be at UPW to see what he actually means by that. It's hilarious. But yeah, you are not and will never be fearless. You just have to fear less. And you have to listen to your fear, you have to acknowledge it and dance with it. And I have been saying that a lot on social media, in my videos, in my podcast, but it's really, I think that is one of the keys to live a happy life, to let go of the fears and learn how to dance with it. So that is everything that I wanted to cover. Well, not, or I see one more note that I have about what we did on the first day, and that is, you cannot change your outside environment. Of course, you can change where you live, but you cannot change the people in it. The only thing that you can change is yourself, how you react to it, how you act. So take a look at your own reactions and your own actions, and that is so important, because if you use you accuse others of your situation, you're not gonna live the life that you want to live. So make sure that you always take a look at yourself first before judging others. And if you judge, you have some work to do for sure. Everyone is doing their best. And sometimes their best is not living up to your expectations. So change your expectations for appreciations. Appreciate what they are doing. Be grateful that they are doing. They are doing. They are. They're there. And maybe they're not at your level yet, but love them for where they are and encourage them to grow further as well. Don't push them, encourage them. So yeah, that was day one, and I'm now gonna turn all the pages because I have a lot of notes open. All right. The one thing that my small outline is of course based on the days that we had. And the thing is with Tony Robbins, the days are long. We always joke that we are on Tony time. You never know what you're getting and you just have to embrace it, and that's part of the fun. And I haven't even touched on that much yet, but the main thing is everything in life is based on energy. And when you are at a Tony Robbins event, I don't think it matters which event you will be. It is a full immersion with high energy, with a peak state. And it is just so powerful. The energy that you have and what you can do with that energy. And the event learns you how you can get yourself in that high energy state. And during the event, we're dancing like crazy. We're connecting to our bodies in a way that we haven't done in a long time. And that energy is so important. And you need that energy to, to, to do everything in life. Otherwise, you're not going to pursue anything because you don't have the drive and the energy to do it. So, one of the biggest changes that Tony had made in my life, or no, what Tony's programs have helped me change, because he just helps me but I have to do it. So with this episode I can tell you everything, but you still have to do it yourself. And I think I'm just gonna scratch out so much of what I've written down to share, because it doesn't make sense to go over everything. It all has to do with energy. And we are dancing our asses off at UPW. And of course, I told you that your body was going to be sore and would be aching. But that's all right. It doesn't matter. And my first UPW wasn't even on my own time zone. And still, I was dancing my ass off at 6 a.m. and I loved every second of it. But the funny thing is, and I think that's the downside of doing a virtual event, is it is easier to not participate. And I know, especially for us Dutchies, we are very skeptical when the first time that Tony tells us Dutchies to stand up and dance, we're sitting down in our chairs and we're thinking, really? Do you think that you can tell me to stand up and do that? It's no, it doesn't make sense. We're not doing that. And I have been a bit skeptical with my first Tony event. The first thing with Tony, what I did was the New Year, New You challenge. Or is it the New Year, New World? I don't know. New World, New Year. It it's something like that. But with that challenge, it was only 2 hours of Tony, and still it was high vibe, high energy, dancing around and screaming, a lot of screaming. And with that event, I didn't fully participate, but still it affected me. And I know the first day I wasn't fully in it, and the fourth day I was, because and that's the thing. The enthusiasm, yeah, that was the Dutch pronunciation first, that you will get affected with everything you see on the screen. You see people dance, and you want to be on that screen as well. There is this weird thing that you will give it your all to be on that screen. That's again that significance that's coming up, but it's fine, and you have to go with it, because that way you will dance your ass off. You will fully commit, and you will dance and scream and cry and just be fully in it. And that's the power of those events. And I think with a live event, with it being in person, you will be motivated much more, because people see you when you're not participating. With a virtual event, you can just turn off your camera and be skeptical. But the funny thing is, I've heard from a lot of Dutchies the first time and the second time that they were a bit hesitant to fully participate. And at the end, they were so happy that they did, because otherwise they wouldn't have had the shift that they had in the end. So if you ever go do a virtual event, please play full out. You will need it. And all right, I am checking my notes really fast to see what I wanna share. Yeah, I know. I have shared this in my Instagram stories as well at my first UPW. It is something that we start day two with, and it's the success formula. And you can find it out there. It's on the internet. The first one is know your outcome. It is so important to know what you are working towards. Because if you don't know that, then you're just going on with your life. You're not changing anything. You're just doing. You're living on autopilot when you don't know where you're going. And you can look at it as the GPS of your car. If you don't fill in the destination, how do you know where to go? That's the same for your life. If you don't have any goals or any dreams, you will just do something, and you will never be happy, because you haven't reached anything, because you don't know what you want to reach. So make sure you know your outcome, that you know where you want to go. And then the second thing, and this is something I always do with my clients as well, I make sure that you know your reasons why. You have to fully know where you're going, and why you are going, because otherwise you will never go all in and do it. If I would have just canceled my house because I didn't want to live there, that wasn't that's not life changing. That's just doing that. But I knew I wanted to live a nomadic life, and it made so much sense that I would just cancel my house and give away my stuff and start living this nomadic life. And otherwise, it was just an action, and now it was a shift in my life. So you have to know why you are doing something. Otherwise, you can never fully commit to it and you will not do it. And the third thing is take massive action. This is normally where people stop because massive action sounds like it's big, but it doesn't have to be that big. Just make sure you work towards your goal. And lots of people stop after this. They do the action and they don't get the results, so they just quit. But the fourth part of the success formula is notice what you're getting, and you need that because then you can course correct. Then you can change your approach, and that's the fifth part of the success formula. And this is where people stop. People see what they get, but they don't do anything with that information. And I think that especially is the case with entrepreneurs. They try to implement something and they see that it's not working, but they don't make the changes to make it work. And that success formula is just what you need to get everything in your life that you want. You have to make sure that you use the whole formula and not just one or number three. You really have to do all the steps to get there. And the funny thing is, what I said, you don't have to take massive, massive action. If you do a small thing every day, you will still get there. If I want to walk somewhere, if I have to walk 1 kilometer, if I take one step every day, I will get there. I won't get there as fast as I would like, but I would still get there. So, in my opinion, you have to make sure you're always moving. And of course, it would be better if I just took it more than one step at a time and I would do it in one day or I would do it in 5 days. But if I would take one step, it would take me lots of days. I don't know how much steps is 1 kilometer, but it would take me probably 1,000 days or something. I don't know. But you get my drift. You have to take action to get somewhere, and the bigger the action, of course, the better. But if the big actions are paralyzing you, make it smaller. This is something I do with my coachees all the time. We set a goal and then we make sure it's smaller. And the smaller the step is, how easier it is for you to do. When you have this big goal ahead of you, you're just paralyzed. You get overwhelmed and you won't do it. And I've been there so many times. So it's so good to be aware of that. And that's not really something we covered in UPW, but it's for me it's such a big part of this. And I guess where what the whole event is about is that we're breaking the patterns and you need to break your pattern to change it. And that's just, I guess, the main summary of a whole Tony event, that you become aware of where you are in your life, you get aware where you want to go, and you get the tools to break the gap. And that is literally what we did on day 2. So if you can do that on day 2, there's so much more that we did on day 3, and I'm not gonna go into that. No, I don't. I don't. I don't. One thing I want to say about it is, and that has to do again with what I just told you. You have to know when to let go of a dream, as much as it is important to have a dream. The world is always changing, and so should your dreams and goals. And we are so used to work towards a goal that you forget that you have to adjust them. The world is always changing. Look at how life is now in 2021 and what it was like in 2019. Completely different. It wouldn't make sense if my goals in 2021 were the same as 2019. Of course, it has to change. And I guess COVID is even a better example of it. But still, even if COVID wouldn't have happened, my goals would have to be different because otherwise I was standing still And I have recorded an episode about it standing still. You can listen to it. I will put a link in the show notes as well. But you have to make sure you keep moving. And sometimes it's so overwhelming to adjust your goals. It's a big thing, especially when it's like for me, for a long time, my main goal was working at the biggest festivals in the Netherlands. And I have seen them all. So I achieved my goal and I didn't know what I wanted to do besides that. So I stayed working in the festivals. And it was nice, but it wasn't what I wanted anymore. So I worked myself into a burnout because I wasn't enjoying it anymore as much as I was before. So I needed to let go of that dream that that I already accomplished. That's the stupid thing. And it's the same that when you're studying to get your diploma, and after that you have this gap, this blind spot that we call the black hole. That's that because you have your degree and you have been working towards that for years. What's next? That point is so overwhelming, but it is such a big part of life. You have to make sure that you can let it go and just adjust it. And now we're getting into the topic that I really, really love. And of course, I can talk about this for hours, especially because we only covered it yesterday. Yesterday, day 4 of UPW was Help Day. And of course, a big part of the Help Day is about your body and what you put in it. And that is so important. And it's knowledge that you actually have, but you just forgot it. The most important thing is that you have to treat your body as a temple. And that's not the slogan that Tony Robbins will use. And it's not something that he says, but for me, it summarizes it pretty well. You have to be aware of your body. You have to pay attention to what it needs. We are living in really strange times these days where when there's something wrong with your body, we just take drugs and figure it and try to fix it that way. But you can never fix the symptoms without addressing the causes. And when I take my own body, for example, I have had allergies my whole life. And the solution is don't eat, in my case, tomatoes or nuts, because when will, I will have trouble breathing or I will have eczema. And when I do have a reaction, the response is to take medicine. But I'm not treating my allergy. And what I realize now after UPW is my allergy is just a response of my body that there's something wrong, that my body is trying to fix myself. And I'm not sure where I have to go to actually fix it, but I truly believe that one day I will live a life without allergies. And I have seen it in my body because when I was a kid, I was allergic to dairy. I couldn't drink milk or eat yogurt. And the more I told myself that I couldn't, the more severe my reaction would become. At one point, I was really panicked when someone actually threw yogurt at me. This was at a Girl Scout camp food fight. Stupid thing, but it's a vivid memory of me reacting crazy when someone was throwing yogurt at me because I'm allergic and you cannot do that, and I don't know how I will respond. Even though my allergy was only when I took it in, so I couldn't eat it. Of course, I could touch it, but it was just my belief was that yogurt was bad for me, so I reacted towards that. And it's the same with my asthma because I tell myself that I cannot do things because I cannot breathe. But the reaction is I won't do stuff that are good for me because I cannot breathe. And for a long time, I didn't exercise because I thought that I couldn't because of my asthma. But the funny thing is, when I pushed through, I started to run, I could. And I haven't used my medicine for such a long time. Of course, I still take it with me. I'm still aware of it that I need it sometimes. But I truly believe I can cure this. And I guess if I would get a lung scan right now, it would have been so much better than it was 15 years ago. But the funny thing is we tell ourselves things that are healthy for our body that are not healthy at all. And I believe that everything we not well, that's not really true. No. So our body needs water. We are filled of water. I guess for how much percentage? 80, 95? I don't know for sure. I didn't pay attention. Sorry, Tony. But our body need water and we never drink enough water. And I know that the more water I drink, the more healthy I feel. The more water I drink, and sorry for the guys, this might be TMI, but when I have my period and I drink water, lots of water, I feel way better. I don't have all the pain that I have when I don't drink enough water. Drinking water is such an important part of your health. And the same goes for breathing. You need oxygen. And the times that my asthma was the worst was as the time that my body was aching. I couldn't do anything. And that was because I was always breathing shallow because I thought that I couldn't breathe any deeper. And it had to do with posture. It had to do with my beliefs about it. But as soon as I changed that and I started to fully breathe, like really using my body the way it should, like it's supposed to, that was such a game changer for me. And now I only discussed water and oxygen, but that's only a small part of it because we eat foods every day and we put stuff in our body like medicine that are not helping at all, especially food. When you look at what we eat on a day, how much sugar, how much dairy, how much bread, and everything, we are not supposed to eat all that. I truly believe that. And even though I do eat meat, I do eat fish, I do eat cheese, I do eat dairy, I drink some coffee, I'm only human. Of course, we have been taught our whole life that that is what you do, that you eat all those things. But I know I feel much healthier when I focus on eating fruits and vegetables. And my mom's going to be so happy that I say this, but since I have been at my parents' house, I am so much healthier. We eat organic. We always buy organic things, and my mom has her own vegetable garden, so we eat a lot of vegetables from our own garden. And since I have been living here, I I'm not that sick. Normally, I'm always sneezing and I'm always having a cold. I used to say that I'm chronically having a cold. It's it's part of it was part of me, and I always thought that I would be the one that had to carry handkerchiefs everywhere or tissues. But now I know that that's not the case. I can go without because when I take care of my body with the food that it needs, then I can be a healthy person. I am not the broken person that I thought I was for a long time. Because you guys have heard me talk about my asthma, my eczema, my allergies, my fatigue syndrome. I really I've I thought for such a long time that I was broken, and I know that I'm not, and I know that I can do whatever, and that is part of my why. that people have been telling me things about life, about myself, about everything. And I've believed it. I formed my own beliefs around that. And I have limited myself so much because of those beliefs. But that's just it. It's all a belief, and you can change your beliefs. And at UPW, you learn how to change those beliefs. And this is such a small, this is only one area of my life that I had all those limiting beliefs. And I wasn't even aware of them. Funny thing is, back in 2016, I guess, I was listening to a podcast from a Dutch entrepreneur about limiting beliefs. And I just thought, when I was listening to it, I crossed my arms and I was like, no, I don't have any limiting beliefs. And that in itself was a limiting belief, but I couldn't see that. I just blocked everything because I knew that when I would go in myself and look deeper, there was this massive black hole with all those limiting beliefs that it would change my life completely. So my ego stepped in and said, no, you don't have any negative beliefs. Why? No, we're not going there. I'm protecting you. I'm letting you stay in your comfort zone. You're safe here. And the funny thing is that I have so much limiting beliefs around my body, around my health, and I am aware of them now, and I am changing them, and that's such a powerful thing. And the thing is, even though I am aware of them and I have been changing a lot of them, I know there will always be limiting beliefs. It is not a quick fix. It's not that I've been to UPW once and I am healed and I can do everything for the rest of my life. No, life is annoyingly, but it's good as well because otherwise it would be boring. But it's always ups and downs, and you will get comfortable at your new next level. And you get comfortable, and as soon as you're comfortable, there is this new devil stepping up. You will be afraid of something, insecure of something, you're limiting yourself. It is always part of the cycle of life. It will always be there. And that's why when you will go to a UPW or any other Tony event, you will always walk into people that have been going to all these events. And ev- every time is the same. You will learn the same information, but you will always adjust it to your current present self, to your situation. So you'll always learn something else. And that's the good thing. And that's why I already know that I will be at the next UPW again. I'm not sure how I'm going to make it work, but I will because I know it's such a powerful thing. And I would love to be there. So, yes. Oh, I have to figure out how I'm going to do that if I only have one laptop when I'm traveling. And that's a Chromebook, so I cannot do breakout rooms. That's interesting. All right, I have to figure that out, but I already know that I will be there again. I've been loving this way too much to not fully participate again. It's the feeling of connection that you have when you're doing a UPW, and that's as a participant or as a crew member. It's it's crazy. I have met people at my first UPW that I'm still in contact with on a daily basis right now. It's I guess it shapes you for life. You build connections for life. It's such a powerful thing. And yeah, I can go on about UPW and why I love it for hours. And yeah, I can share so much more, but I don't think I will. But I want to end with this thing that you have all this knowledge, and the power is that you have to integrate this in your routines. For me, that is one of the topics that always comes back in everything that I learn is how am I going to integrate this into my daily life? Drinking water is something you can easily integrate. The connection to myself, for me, that was easy to just go for walks, connect with nature. And since my first UPW, I have been going out for walks 6 to 7 days a week. And even when I don't go out for a walk, I will make sure that I move my body in another way. I dance my ass off. I hula hoop. I do stuff to make sure I use my body to keep moving and to keep growing. And the power is in the routines that at one point you won't think about it and you're just doing it. But you have to make sure that your routines stay working for you, keep working for you. And it's the same with dreams. Sometimes you have to let go of them because sometimes you have routines that are not working for you. So for me at this point, one of the routines that I'm gonna change is my drive, my love for my morning coffee. I have been drinking instant cappuccino for 13 years now, every morning. And I love the taste of it. I don't even like proper coffee that much. And people have been making fun of me for this for years, but it's my one guilty pleasure. I love instant cappuccino. And it makes sense because it's sweet, it has sugar in it. It's supposed to be an energy boost, but it's not healthy for me and I know it. And I love it. So what I've been doing is last UPW I drank 3 cups back then, and I dialed it down to 2 per day. And now I'm gonna dial it back to 1 per day. I don't want to take away my guilty pleasure, my because it is my lovely morning moment, and I truly believe that at one point I will change it up, but I haven't found the thing to replace it with yet. So for now, I'm going to drink only 1 cup. And I'm really gonna pay attention to my sugar intake because I know the more sugar you put in, the more addicted your body gets and the less healthy you live. So I'm gonna pay attention to my sugar intake again. I I'm gonna look at what I put in my body even more. I'm gonna eat more vegetables, more fruits. Yes, mom, really, I'm gonna eat more fruit. And I'm gonna do my smoothie again. I love green smoothies. Everyone that worked with me at the office knows that I always bring my green smoothie, and yet every time I travel, I neglect that. I still drink smoothies. I buy them, but they're not the healthy ones that I make myself. They're processed, so that's never good. So I'm gonna make it a habit to have healthy homemade smoothies. And I just have to figure out how I'm going to do that when I'm traveling again. And that's the hard part for me, to make sure that I keep that healthy lifestyle when I'm traveling. It's so easy to fall back in the processed food and going out for dinner. And I don't like cooking that much. So that's a hard thing for me, to be fully in control of what I put in my body, because when I'm living in a hostel, I cannot cook organic. Well, well, no, I can buy organic products, but you don't have all the pots and pans, or you don't have control over the kitchen, so it's so much harder. And that, with the belief that I don't like to cook, isn't good for me. So I'm gonna change that. So one day I will tell you guys in the podcast that I am always cooking my own dinners. That's gonna be interesting. So yeah, it's just about making the commitment to change your routines. And I guess that's one of my biggest lessons again. And it's not only routines on health level, it's more, it's about your social media intake, it's about your stress level, it is about how you keep your mind occupied every single moment of the day. It is about so much more. It's about your sleep. Yeah, well, it's connected to health, of course, but also to your mind. So make sure you really have healthy routines. And I guess that's what I wanted to say, and I haven't covered everything, but I guess this is just it, because this is what makes sense to me right now. And with this episode, you have a small idea of how UPW is. And I haven't told you anything about the powerful exercises that we do. But that's just something that you have to experience for yourself. So I really hope that you will go and join a UPW. There is one coming up in September 2021, and that's virtual. And there's gonna be one in person probably soon. I know there are dates already, but I'm not. I hope fully that they will have that, but I won't be there because it's in Florida. But yeah, it's been a pleasure to talk to you about this, and I loved it. Forgive me for the stutters that I had or the mispronunciations because of my English, but I loved recording this, and I hopefully will record another episode soon. And if you do have any questions, please reach out. You can find me on Instagram at fearless, Veerlez. I repeat, V, not an F, Veerlez. That is. So I know my name is difficult, so that's why I spelled it out twice. So you must have the right pronunciation, not pronunciation, the right writing, so you can find me. All right, please let me know if you've ever done a UPW or are you interested. Please send me your questions. I would love to answer them. And I would hope to catch you at one UPW or at a next episode of the Fearless Adventure podcast. Thank you. Ciao. Thank you for getting along on my journey and listening to another episode of Fearless Adventure. Would you like more information on the topic of this episode? Then take a look at the show notes on fearlessbusiness.nl. Give your opinion or want to screenshot this episode on Instagram, you can find me and tag me on Instagram at Fearless. That is Veerlez. Fearless. Can't wait to hear from you and see you next time.